Let me ask you something. Do you have a best friend? And if so, is it a childhood friend? Or is it someone you've met later on in life? Well, I've experienced it 3 different ways. I've had 2 best friends when I was little. We'd have, play with toys and stuff. And then I experienced a long time of not having a best friend. And then I've experienced having a really good best friend. And I'm going to tell you. So when I was little, I had 2 best friends. And in fact, all of our families were good friends. And we would go on camping trips. We would go picnics. We would have sleepovers and birthday parties. And it was really a fun time in life. But then, in 4th grade, they both moved away. And this was an important time in my life because this is where I was starting to develop who I was as a person. But I didn't have someone to share it with. Of course, I had my family, my sisters, my brothers, but it wasn't the same thing. I needed a best friend whom I could, tell my secrets to, experience things with, have fun, but I didn't. So I started to turn into myself, find ways I could entertain myself. So I started working on my artistic skills, my music, and just being good at things individually. But then, in high school, when I was 16, actually at my church, there was a girl who I had known for a very long time, but to me she was only an acquaintance. But one day, she came over to my row of seats and just started talking to me. She would, tell me how her soccer team was doing, or, something new that was going on in her life, and she would ask me questions. At first, I didn't really care, I didn't really like talking to people, but she was persistent, and she kept coming over to my row of seats every Sunday, talking to me, and she would ask questions. And I began to realize that she took interest in me, and she seemed to value me as a person. Not only would she ask me questions, but she would listen. And this is something I wasn't used to, because normally people would cut me off because they felt they had something more important to talk about. Anyway, when Michelle started to be able to drive, she would pick me up at my house, drive me places, and we really were having a lot of fun. In fact, I was going to community college, and she signed up for a Spanish class just so we could take it together, just so we could experience and have more time together. But then, just last year, she moved to Texas. And that was okay with me, because I knew we could still be as best friends. And I felt confident that I didn't have to, feel insecure, like no one would accept me, because I knew she accepted me. And I knew that I had turned into a more social person, and I was comfortable with who I was. And although she did start talking about new friends she had met, people who could, possibly take my position, I felt okay. I did tell her sometimes, that it was getting on my nerves, but that was okay, because we both knew we were best friends. So, Miss Michelle is my best friend because she values who I am, and she listens to me. Secondly, she's fun to be with, even if we're just sitting down talking. And thirdly, she helped me grow into a person who is more confident in myself. And that is the value of a best friend. Thank you.